Let's do this! So, first band's coming up, pretty standard. Troll Sniper, no. Maybe we'll see up an Axe band, but I don't know. Maybe even Co-op.
It sure would help if I didn't have my mic muted for the stream.
That would help for me too, probably.
Okay,
Don't
here we
tell
go.
them we screwed up yet.
First
I have an
bands.
open mic, man, I'm good.
We got the Sniper, the Troll, the Axe. Are we going to see the Storm Spirit?
Normal Co-op would be my guess. Seems to be quite popular bands.
Yeah. We can potentially have the Bat Rider. He was a big band through the What's-Em-It stages. What do you call the first stage? Kind of like, it was a round robin stage essentially. It was a round robin split into two brackets, so the pool stage. But now that we're here, he's only kind of been banned out in second phase of bans, if at all. Still hasn't been picked up though.
No Bat Rider pickup yet. Seems quite interesting. It's a very, very strong hero.
The Lion has been a very, very popular first pick when that Axe is not available.
Mainly because of its ability, mainly because of Lion's ability to disable someone for quite a long time, and also to harass people out of the lane with the mana drain and just the ability to keep going. Really, he's one of those sustaining heroes, self-sustainable.
Yeah, the transition he gets when he hits level 6 and his ability to find pickoffs and secure kills is huge as well.
It's a big spike in power when he hits that level 6, but he is considered a greedy support because of the fact that that finisher will usually kill them, and that's usually what it's for. But it does help in getting those pickoffs early.
Yeah. He also doesn't require too much in the way of farm. You get like a blink dagger up on him and he's kind of done. He kind of reaches what he needs with just a blink dagger.
More level dependent than anything else. Though a blink dagger is definitely helpful.
Shadow Fiend and Ogre Magi.
Interesting. Reveals possibly the mid laner and possibly who your mech carrier is going to be currently. But could still transition to something different. And then we have the Undying pickup.
Yeah. I mean,
expecting teamfight.
Yeah, I mean, Undying is such a great early game hero, and you have to make use of him in that early game because he really does drop off if he doesn't kind of get himself around kills and make himself very annoying and effective early game.
He's up there in the fact that he's able to harass the lane. He's very, very strong in any lane lineup.
Yeah.
And has very commanding presence in the early game. So it secures in the early stage. Well, helps too. We get to seal the picks out and bans.
Yeah, helps too, but you've got to make sure that you put him in a lane where he can be useful. I've seen him before end up in almost a 1v1 lane against a hero that could just escape from him with a blink, and he ended up being almost useless. He didn't really do much in the early game. He got a little bit of farm on one of the lanes, and then kind of became obsolete before he could really kind of show his power.
That's where his meta came from, right? Because his meta was fighting early. Like, there has to be fights for him to really be effective.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a little bit cautious on picking him up too early, but he definitely does pick up well into both Shadow Fiend and Magi.
Yeah, he's one of those heroes that you do have to build your lineup around him slightly, because you do need to be able to force the issue early. Because if you're in a position where they're deciding that they're just going to leave you alone and wait until this Undying becomes obsolete, I'll say. It's not, he never quite does, but he gets less and less effective, especially when that tombstone can be killed off very quickly by your carries like Shadow Fiend later on when he gets very high damage. If they decide to avoid those fights, you need to have a lineup that can push and make use of the fact that they're not willing to fight you, or to force them to fight you so you can use that Undying.
It very much looks like they're doing this too with the immediate Venge ban that they used up straight away. So it looks like they might be pushing into an Enigma, possibly. And then we've got the AA ban followed by Witch Doctor and then TA.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on these bans apart from obviously the Venge one, which I think is leading into an Enigma maybe?
Yeah, I mean we've got the ban out of the mid laner at the TA. She gives Shadow Fiend quite a bit of trouble in that mid. Although if you have the Ogre Magi standing around with the Ignite, you can actually deal with her a little more easily, but you do have to keep a support around for that. The AA, just a hero that no one really likes to deal with. He goes pretty well early game. The Chilling Touch makes you deal a hell of a lot of damage with any kind of early lineup that you're looking to do. So in terms of pushing like that, it's great. It also, obviously, his ultimate negates any healing with mech, etc. that you want to throw out.
Yeah. Though it wouldn't have been a bad pickup for them entirely, because then that also stops Undying from being quite a big presence with the Soul Rip.
Yeah. So we see a Drow Ranger pick up as well.
So maybe my thoughts would be considering maybe are they looking to go into a very much ranged aura-based strategy, which looks very probable with both Magi and Ranger here. Magi for the attack speed,
Yeah.
Ranger for the extra damage, and obviously the mid laner is Shadow Fiend.
I
We're assuming
honestly
mid.
I feel like it's a little bit odd. If they knew they were going to go this Drow, why did they not pick up the Jack instead of the Ogre? He fulfills much the same role, except he gives you more pushing potential with the Liquid Fire early. He still has that stun and good initiation, and he's still that tanky support, but he's also ranged, so he gets the damage bonus from the Drow.
I think you do get the damage bonus, but you do give up on Bloodlust in that case, so meaning the attack speed increase that you can use on Dro, which if you take a look on it, it goes 20, 30, 40, 50, which is quite a bit early on with only a 20-second
That's quite a bit, but you're
cooldown.
also passing up the Liquid Fire for pushing towers with that. And secondly, I mean, Drow is probably going to have to get a BKB at some point this game, looking at the lineup from DBN at the moment. So
I wouldn't.
very aggressive with the Skywrath pickup, and that's what we're talking about, that ability for them to really push their advantage early game.
Yeah, definitely the ability to pick off people that are out or to make sure that one person at least dies. So looking at the ClickTime's next pickup, I would be probably heading towards Visage as a support because of the
Yeah,
birdies.
if you can play him, then Visage
If
with
you
the
can play
Drow
him,
is
yeah.
very, very good.
Hmm.
I have faced that before, and if you get some farm on that Visage and he gets that Aghanim Scepter with the Drow or a late game, I seem to
Bye-bye
remember
towers.
backdoor protection not working against them for some reason, and I remember them throning us. Just like there was nothing we could do. Every time we left the base slightly to try and push, they would just take another objective at top lane, and it was
A
ridiculous.
pain in the ass, to say the least.
But instead, we see the Silencer pickup, which is he's just
Hmm.
a fantastic teamfight disruptor. He can allow you to initiate, or if someone gets in trouble, he can potentially allow your team to just get out.
So do you think instead of getting the Enigma now, you head towards Doom and try and destroy Silencer with Dooms?
It could be an option. I mean, if you pick up a Doom now, I mean, what are we going to be running? It would be Doom safe lane slash jungle, potentially a aggressive tri lane.
But then you wouldn't have a mid.
You're going to have to pick up a mid as their last hero.
Well, no, Lion can mid. You can mid Lion.
He
I have seen it.
could.
It is doable, and
You
it's a very
can
strong mid.
also mid Skywrath.
Though I don't think with the current meta we're going to see any of that, but if we do,
I mean,
that'd be fun.
honestly, Skywrath would actually mid fairly decently against the Shadow Fiend. We're going to see a
So
Juggernaut
there's their
pick up
carry.
instead. So
Quite a strong push line up here.
yeah, he's really going to need to get that Manta style up fairly quickly. And again, they got that Juggernaut because he can force the issue early on. With that healing ward for pushing, with his survivability from the magic immunity, and with that just fantastic
Early Omni
ultimate.
slash Mom combo.
Yeah, they can really push with this
They're
if they
fairing
need
the
to.
push with that ban on the Broodmother there.
Yeah. One thing that they're going to have to make sure with this lineup from DBN, if they're looking to really push this, is they're going to have to make sure of a couple of things. One, they don't want the Silencer to get 6 too fast. However, there's not a hell of a lot you can often do with that. So yeah, they're getting rid of the offlaner because
I
they
would
know
be
that
going
that has
straight
to be
into Visage.
the last one for
but-
ClickTime here.
Mm.
And yeah, but if you pick up the Visage, who's going to be your offlaner? Your Visage, or are you going to
Visage could do
aggressive
it.
lane?
You could
Anyway,
aggressive try against their safe.
you
Actually,
could,
quite well because Jug is not that effective. He's okay, but
because we're
actually, if they return to the aggressive tri lane with Skywrath Lion, I don't think anyone's going to win that. Or Undying in that. It just melt them.
Magnus offlaner?
Teamfight control.
Offlane Magnus?
It seems like it with the with Skewer, but Skewer got reduced a while ago, so it's
It
not
did.
as effective again.
It's
Moving
still
away.
effective, but I mean, the thing is that, and we saw it in which game was it? I think it was one of the games yesterday. There was a Skywrath mage on the other team to the Magnus, and the Magnus playing mid got killed quite a few times because the silence comes out. Being just an instacast silence stops you from casting the skewer, and you're just caught out of position.
Which has its own cast time as well.
Yeah.
Couple of seconds to charge up the old hoofs and head on in.
Yeah.
So,
Gotta paw the
what
ground.
mid would you put in against their lineup right now?
Yeah, it's tricky because
I would be looking towards maybe Razor. Good
Yeah.
anti-carry, very strong on lane.
Razor-
Stop Shadow Fiend.
Razor Viper both fulfill a similar role, and they're going to go with
Night
Night
Stalker.
Stalker very aggressive. So I'm really hoping we actually see the Night Stalker mid this time, unlike last time where I feel he really shafted
potential,
himself
yeah.
and completely kind of screwed themselves over where they sent the Night Stalker to bottom lane. to farm
So-
against. It ended up being solo against a Viper, which is just never going to go well for him unless he has good rune control, which you can't really get from bottom lane on the Radiant.
I'm guessing with DBN, we're probably going to be looking at a 2-1-2 lineup. So your standard lanes.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what we're going to get.
They could try it, but I'm not sure how they're going to do that one.
I think we'll get a 2-1-2 where either Lion or Skywrath moves frequently, but does kind of situate himself in that lane.
10
Hmm.
seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
That'd be quite an interesting one to see picked up, to see how that works out.
Remaining.
As far as the drafts go, I'm saying they're pretty even. I wouldn't go one way or the other straight away.
Yeah.
Um,
If we want to run through the lineup here quickly.
Yep.
On the Silencer from the Radiant, we have Pac-Man. On our Shadow Fiend, we have Zed. Our Magnus, we have Click My Kit Easy. And on our Drow Ranger, we have GYP. Lastly, playing our Ogre Magi, we have Einsof.
Cool, and so if we run over to the Dire side, we have Hakumen on the Night Stalker, hopefully heading to the mid lane, but it looks like we've got an early smoke into their
We do.
Radiant Forest coming up. But anyway, as we go through, Lion will be played up by Smegma Salad, we've got Juggernaut, JC4 Noobs, Pootie Tang on the Undying, and Standin.Dota on Skyrath Mage.
Yeah, as we see the smoke gank coming through, they do have quite a strong level 1
They have a
lineup here.
very
They've
strong
actually
level
got
one lineup.
Tombstone hoping that they can get a few kills here, looking to probably ward this off lane and stop any pulls coming through. There we go. But it looks like
So
there's
no
only...
good old Magic Bush.
Right now there's only a solo Drow Ranger down here, and she's
He wants
scared.
none of it.
She thinks... she knows something's happening. She assumes that something's happening. And they're all
Yeah, I will
hiding in the
guide you.
bushes here.
I will guide you. Follow this line. Keep going. We go this way.
Yeah, we're almost there. And woo! That's your target, boys. It looks like they're just going to go and grab this bottom rune, and there's going to be a trade of runes here. Interesting to see who we put it on. I feel like we're going to give one to the offlaner up top, except it looks like he
Definitely
has...
looks like we got the Night Stalker mid.
It looks like he has a silencer up there with him as well, so it's not going to be a solo offlane.
Yeah.
They're going to 2-1-2 as well, as this Ogre Magi, after securing the rune at top, is going to start heading towards the bottom lane.
I fear this Drow is going to have a very hard lane.
She is going to have, yeah, Skyrath and Undying.
Undying against Drow and Magi.
Yeah.
Not going to be fun.
It's not going to be fun for a while. This Shadow Fiend in mid could have trouble against this Night Stalker as well. It really does depend on how much rune control they can give the Night Stalker and if he can get that fast bottle up.
Take a look at the early last hits.
Just pinging out the fact that their small camp on the Dire side here has been blocked, so we will see no pulls through to the off lane.
You can see the lane's developing quite calmly for now. We got an ignite that happened onto Skyrath, just a bit harass.
Yeah, the arcane, a lot of arcane bolts we're going to see out on this bottom lane from the Skyrath
I'm
mage.
quite surprised that we have Tombstone level 1 onto the Undying.
Mid
I
lane-
guess that was to gank early, but not very strong for ganking early, in my opinion.
Bit of a
much
man
better to
fight
get.
there,
Okay.
but nothing going to come of it. Lane still just kind of going back and forward. Shadow Fiend almost about to hit level 3 here. A little bit ahead of the Night Stalker, and when he hits level 3, those
Once he hits
razors...
at level 3, he should go very aggressive and probably
Yeah.
could kill Night Stalker here.
Those razors deal a lot. Night Stalker's going to heal up, because you remember, once that Night Stalker hits level 3, he deals a hell of a lot with that Void as well, and he is going to have enough mana for one of those. As he hits level 3 now.
nuke. And he's got his bottle upcoming.
Yeah. So this is where the Night Stalker starts to get quite hard for the Shadow Fiend to deal with. The good thing about playing a Shadow Fiend against the Night Stalker is when he voids you, if you react in time, when he voids you, he tries to run up and hit you afterwards, and if you just throw out a couple of razors onto him while he's running at you, he doesn't have a hell of a lot of chance, because you will deal more damage than he will with the void. The thing about the Night Stalker, though...
careful as crippling fear will hit.
Yeah, the thing about the Night Stalker is he can really, really spam out that void on you. Especially if he can get close to you before you hit it, so you can only get... Oh, we have a gank coming in here. There's an Invis rune on the Skyrath. Silence comes out, and this is going to be a hell of a lot of damage. If only that Silence came out just before the Void hit. But first blood to the Skyrath, not going to die. And that was a great rotation there.
Textbook gank.
Yeah. checking that bottom rune at the 2 minutes like you're supposed to is a good support, and this is the rune control I was talking about. We actually do have sight on this ward down here, so maybe you could say the Shadow Fiend was playing a little bit too aggressively for what they knew was happening, but now the Night Stalker has his rune, and we're going to see a lot of damage here, especially since he's not far off level 5 now, coming out onto the Shadow Fiend. The Shadow Fiend's going to have a rough lane.
Plus with the current damage loss that he just suffered.
Yeah. We see people playing with their creeps up on the top lane.
Being a little cheeky. Silencer not doing too much on the lane, but I think he should keep harassing the Juggernaut because anything Jug cast costs him half his mana pool.
Juggernaut actually out-farming the Drow Ranger, but only just, as they kind of go on the Drow Ranger down here. That's a lot of damage just from one Arcane Bolt. And Silence is going to TP down. Tombstone
actually did take a lot of damage himself, though.
Stopping them from really being able to do much, but... And here in this mid lane, we've run through just about all the regen on the Shadow Fiend here, but he's just bought up his bottle. So this ends up being pretty good timing for him, as we have another rune spawning in about 5 seconds, so we should see the rotation from the bottom lane. He's going to be sad
when he takes a look at that.
Skywrath to go grab the bottom rune, and top rune going the way of Night Stalker. So
definitely great ward rune control going on.
Yeah, great rune control, and so this is just going to let him spam out these voids, and now with this extra movement speed he can actually gank as well, and he's heading towards top lane. This could be a lot of trouble for the Magnus. Is he going to be able to skewer away? The Hex comes out.
The Hex.
There's no silence up on Night Stalker, but it's not going to matter. Easy kill, and onto the Drow Ranger he goes, but he's not going to be able to get this kill as he doesn't have enough mana for another Arcane Bolt.
Looks like he's in big trouble here, though. Dead.
Oh, wow. And Silencer gets the kill on the Skywrath.
Great turnaround by the Silencer.
The Drow just living life on the edge there.
It was all on the Drow there. She turned around and took that extra hit. Not taking that extra hit would have meant that Skywrath would have gotten away.
Yeah.
So good risk management.
Night Stalker, I mean, Shadow Fiend actually, having rotated into the jungle here, pretty scared of the bonus movement speed and attack speed of this Night Stalker at nighttime. He knows that if he gets a void on him and can get close to him through kind of one of those razors, he can do a hell of a lot of damage to him, and there's not really anything Shadow Fiend can do to escape at this point.
Looks like he's rotating in on him. Actually towards the bot lane here, which they have no wards at nighttime. Should be one right there, looking at seeing what's going on.
Yeah, he should have been seen by the ward blocking.
They've noticed it now.
Yeah.
Things went out.
And they're all going to retreat back under their tower, as the Magnus got about 1,000 gold on the top lane, so he's not doing too badly up here.
He's going in onto the Ogre Magi on bot lane here.
Yep. Good slow coming out from the Skywrath, and this is going to be a dead Ogre Magi, and there's the Silence. There's nothing that the Drow and Silencer can do. There's actually no points on Silence on the for the Drow Ranger here, and they're going to back off. Heal up with the bottle and whatever the thing's called, Urn, and he might actually be able to wait and come back in, because they thought he was on pretty low. He's actually going to teleport into the mid lane.
Try and gank up on the Shadow Fiend.
I don't think he can get him here. Not quite.
No, he's too low on mana anyway. One void and he's out.
Yeah. The one thing you have to realize though is while the Night Stalker here is 2-0, the Shadow Fiend is out farming him quite heavily. 28-3 on our Shadow Fiend and only 16-4 on our Night Stalker.
But we still see at the top there that the Jug is leading the charge here.
Yeah, in terms of last hits and denies. He is leading the way.
He's going into either a ring, obviously Aquila, or Soul Ring?
For who? Sorry?
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut is... I don't know.
I'm assuming it's going to be an Aquila, because you get the traditional Aquila drums build, which allows you to literally farm any one of the
Shadow Fiend could be in trouble here as Night Stalker's found him. He's bottling up, but Night Stalker's hitting very hard right now. He has that DD rune. The Lion is coming in as well, and that is going to be one dead Shadow Fiend. One more hit. Bang. Down he goes.
There he goes. He dead.
And there's a teleport out from the Lion to
Looks
base,
like they're looking to go
actually.
Nope.
Is Night Stalker going to find anybody here? He's running around like a madman. I think he's seen them here. He has a lot of night vision.
He's going to go in. It looks like they're rotating people in here.
Oh yeah, there goes the slow and and there drops Tombstone. It's going to be one hit dead there. They might get the Skywrath in return. They do, but it is going to be a 2-for-1 trade. In fact, he can dive. He has Void up again here, and they're going to get him. There's no way that the Drow is going to survive this.
Needs that level 1 on Silence.
Shadow Fiend teleporting. I don't know about this. There could be a lot of damage coming out on the Shadow Fiend. There's a slow already, but he doesn't have enough mana for the Void, and they're going to have to back out.
Back. He gets a raise on him. He's going to drop.
If there was enough mana
Nothing
there
on
for
there.
the
Maybe
void,
two
that was
razors.
a dead Shadow Fiend, and he's taking a lot of damage here from
Long range?
something.
Ah. Good shot. Good try.
And we see a lot of teleports come down to the Radiant side now.
This is where it's getting into the reactionary Dota for Team ClickTime here.
Yeah.
They really need to be making their own plays, not reacting to everything the other team does. Reacting to most of it, yes, but you got to be careful on how you do that.
Yeah, it can be hard.
They're locking 3 heroes down here and still are getting the team DBN are getting the kills and are getting the advantage out of it because of the Night Stalker.
Yeah, the Night Stalker is just doing a hell of a lot of work right now, and it looks like we're going to see another pick off here on the Silencer, trying to de-ward and just getting caught out by... Oh, do we have RP up on the Magnus? We don't. But he does have a skewer. Just gonna only skewer one target here, and he's in a lot of trouble.
And looks like he's gonna drop as well. There goes raise 1, 2, 3. Go for the third raise.
Nope, he's gonna die as well.
And that third raise, he would have got the kill.
And they're gonna get out. That was it just really poorly executed by ClickTime there. I mean, your Shadow Fiend is there, sure. He was there before. He probably should be in the mid, still getting that farm, although he's a little scared as well of the Night Stalker roaming to there. You saw that Silencer get picked off. That happened. Like, there was nothing they could do to save that. They should have just let him go. And the Magnus really, unless he's having a hell of a lot of trouble on top lane, which it doesn't seem like he's having too much, he shouldn't really be coming in without his ultimate at this level.
The key was in that one that they lost the fight early, and then they kept trying to fight into both Undying and Lion, who are just going to control every other hero.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. You get it down to a 4v5, which is what happened to begin with, and then it became a 3v5, 2v5, and even Shadow Fiend came back in and died again.
Yeah.
And he hadn't farmed his souls up, I don't think.
No, I don't think he had many souls on him. If we take a look at the Shadow Fiend now, he's only got 15.
Looks like they're going on Ogamega on bot lane here.
But he's just going to TP out. Oh, we get to follow a birdie. Dun 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 dun. Oh, except they're going on the mid lane on the Night Stalker. But
this is what happens when there's no frost arrows.
Nothing's going to come of it. Where did our birdie go? Oh, somebody died. Juggernaut killed. So that was the ultimate from Juggernaut coming out. The power of that. He chases him back past the tower, past the creep waves.
Did help from Lion just creeping in the back there. As you can see, he comes around.
Oh yes, yes, I see.
Dunlock, and Jug came through with the ult.
Yeah. Shadow Fiend here going to get his first rune of the game. Oh, as my screen does something weird. Get his first rune of the game.
Happy days. So, it looks like he's rotating into a strength build, so he's looking to prioritize HP over anything in this case.
Yeah, looking
so, I think this is a good decision for it, but I would have liked to have more seen going into Yules, because Yules can cause a lot more problems for the enemy team.
I don't think he's farming quite well enough yet. It would take a little while to get Yules, but having said that, you can never underestimate the amount of farm a Shadow Fiend can get.
Does look like there's a smoke gang coming up onto him here, though.
Yeah, this could be nasty. And there goes the ultimate. He knows something's up, and the slowed silence comes out, and he's just going to go down. No trouble.
Here's one of the main key things, though, from kind of an analytical point of view. Whenever you're fighting against Night Stalker on the first night or second night, make sure you have a TP. Purely being because if he at any point uses his void, you can TP out safely.
Yeah.
And there aren't any. I don't think there are many other stuns on the enemy team.
There's a Lion. That's it.
There's Lion, and that's it. So if Lion's not there ganking with him, you've got a free way to get out.
I mean, having said that, he would have died before his TP went off, but still.
In this case, yes.
Yeah.
As I said, in like the first or second night time. I'm not talking about a little bit later when burst is getting too much for you to handle.
Yeah. And the Night Stalker was a last pickup, wasn't it?
Yes, he was the last pickup. He's actually paying off quite well in this game.
He is. By running... Oh, there's actually a kill in mid as well as the Juggernaut goes down. Interesting. So that's a pretty good kill. That must have come out through the Fire Blast into a couple of raises.
2 TPs coming into mid here.
One of them is the Night Stalker, but it's actually about to turn into nighttime again, so he does have to be careful there. Oh, that finger almost takes him out. Great RP coming out, but there's not enough mana for the skewer. Lion will drop here, but the Night Stalker, it's nighttime now, and they're going to get the kill on the Magnus.
That's what you want to see. But then there's no ice arrows to secure these kills.
Yeah.
Shadow Fiend is still alive.
Shadow Fiend, he is. How did he not die?
Just doesn't want to die.
Oh, Night Stalker knows where he is. He comes in and the silence comes out, and he gets.
That's where it pays off.
Gets blown up. He is. He's just going to get the
Kill?
return kill.
He got the better trade on that one. Kill on a very farm Night Stalker that's had 9 kills and 1 death since that.
Yeah.
So great trade, I think. We'll have to see on the fight recap. Here it comes.
And you see the absolute power of the silence from Drow Ranger here. I don't know why in this tournament we haven't seen our Drows get silence earlier.
Silence in the traditional ISO build.
I mean, last time we didn't see our Drow get silence until it was like level 14 or something.
It was 14. It was maxed on precision. Marksmanship was obviously as high as it could go, and then she eventually got Gus.
She had a bunch of stats, and then the whole time she kept getting ganked and having team fights up on the top lane where she was, and they could have kind of all been prevented. And Shadowfiend did a lot of trouble here. He has no support this time. He is just going to get stunned by the lion, and no, he's going to back off.
Making them take their time.
But
there was 4 people for that one though.
Yeah,
5.
but they're looking to push the tower now with this Undying anyway, with the Tombstone up at level 4 now, and they're going to grab this tier 1.
We're seeing Magnus actually getting closer and closer to that blink. I think he needs to commit to top lane and get that blink dagger sorted here.
Yeah, he does.
That tower's going down no matter what.
Yeah,
they may as well use... Yeah, there we go. Good split pushing. Dro's on it. Should realize she's under attack though. There. Gone.
Teleports out. Does
Great
do
work,
a little bit of damage to the tower there, but not too much. As they take out that tier 1 in mid, and Magnus still 700 gold away from his item, but
you can see the intricacy of that TP. It also puts pressure onto the top lane. You're not teleporting back home, but you're teleporting into another situation where you can deal more damage. In this case, look at this. 5 people are rotating for 2. You may as well just leave.
Yeah, the haste rune here might catch them out, but if that wasn't a thing,
big trouble if Magnus is since Magnus is nearby.
Oh, Drow is pretty tanky at this point. A good silence coming out, and then the support comes in.
Great silence.
There's still no frost arrows to be able to take him out here, though. He is going to drop anyway.
Ah, very good.
Good tombstone.
Oh, doesn't kill. There it goes there, though.
Oh, that's a great Skywrath ulti. And with the tombstone, they're actually going to get the kill. Magnus here in the backline, finger coming out onto the Shadowfiend to drop him low and force him back.
You don't. Whoa.
Wow. Walking forward there, the tombstone doing a hell of a lot of work. If he had managed to...
Yep. Sorry.
If he'd managed to drop that tombstone before the global silence went off, I think that would have been a different fight. I don't even think they would have been able to kill that Night Stalker.
I think they still would have got Night Stalker, but I think in that case, they may have lost another hero.
Yeah. It ended up being a pretty decent fight for them, but the trade-off is that their Night Stalker was very close to his BKB. Once he gets BKB, a fight like that goes completely differently. There's no way he's dying in a fight like that if he has his BKB up.
He's very, very close to it as well. Wasn't bad. I think what they needed to have, though, is they needed to make sure Mag had a bit more MP.
Oh, like Mag coming in with a level 6 here. He's going to get instantly silenced. That's great. And they should just try and back out here with the slows that they have after setting this tombstone up.
They're targeting that down.
Yeah, that was a good play there by DBN, actually, realizing that when they drop the tombstone, they can slow them enough that they can all get out, even if they have to waste the cooldown on it. Which actually isn't that big anymore. It's only 60 seconds.
But it is getting less and less effective the longer the game goes on. So it is good to see them taking these towers, using it to their advantage.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the mech now up on the Undying.
We've got the BKB that just came up onto the Night Stalker.
Yeah, that's a big one, and that's going to be... Is that an Invis rune on the Skywrath again? It is.
What do you think about the whole... obviously, the back Gingbar's duration decreases. Do you think it's even good getting it this early, per se? When you could possibly go for other things?
I think it's absolutely needed on him. The fact is that while it still, lowers in effectiveness over the game, it also reduces in cooldown. So you've got to remember that when it comes to it, he's going to have such a short cooldown on that BKB that every time he's in trouble, he can just BKB teleport out. Or every time he wants to initiate, he can with that.
But I was thinking along the lines of maybe... Because the enemy team is mostly focused on...
Damage,
so physical output. Why not go into that Crimson Guard?
Yeah, you could
really
go
put the
Crimson
pressure
Guard
on them if they want to target the Night Stalker.
You could even go Armlet at this point, although they do have a bit of DOT that would make it difficult to toggle.
I've got 2 DOTs. I think. 2,
Yeah.
yes.
But in terms of net worth here, we do still see DBN quite a long way ahead. If we take a look here at the team net worth, we're about almost 10k and about 7k in terms of experience earned. And it looks like they're going to go into Roshan here, and this is again the power of that Juggernaut. Just with a level 1 healing ward, you can really go in and take that Roshan whenever you need to. It's kind of silly almost, really. Dropping the healing ward, what I would consider almost early, but Night Stalker runs up the hill, actually gets caught out here, but I don't think they have it. There goes the BKB. But he doesn't have anything to follow up.
Too much physical to follow on him.
Drow's hitting him really hard. This tombstone's been placed too far into the fight here, and I think it's going to be killed. He's going to need to solo rip
that tombstone now, but
not targeting it as the heroes come in. The global silence goes out, and now Silence is trying to kill it. But it's not going to work, as Drow finally takes it out and realizes that she has to target this, but it's too late now. The Shadow Fiend has already gone down. The Night Stalker is back in the fight, roaming around trying to hunt down people. He's got 1,000 gold and he is going to find the Ogre with hair. He does have magic wands, but he is silent, so he's not going to be able to get off a stun even if he uses those, and down he goes. This is going to be a free Rosh if they want to go back and do it, after a good fight and a 5-man wipe, and I almost missed the fight recap. I did.
Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of... No, the fight recap's still up. I think there's quite a bit of... I think there was a lot of error from ClickTime there. They had 3 hits on the tombstone to kill it. Shadow Fiend takes 2 of them and then ignores it entirely. No one finished off the tombstone. Tombstone stacked up and they couldn't retreat.
Yeah.
Whereas if they killed the tombstone, and if you take a look over here, this is where the entirety of the team was, DBN. So what you do there is you use Gust, they go backwards, you leave.
It was an absolute choke point there. It was great for a Shadow Fiend ulti, it was perfect for Gust, it was perfect for a Magnus ulti. They had a potentially really good team fight, and the Shadow Fiend here was hitting the tombstone that was placed just here. Shadow Fiend was here. And he
hit
2
swipes at it and put it onto about a quarter HP.
Yeah, well, I think he hit it 3 times and got it under half. And then the heroes came up and he decided I need to fight the heroes instead. He was only about 2 hits off killing that tombstone, and that could have made quite a large difference to the team fight because it just stayed up. He may have thought that maybe the Drow was still hitting it or something, but in the end that wasn't the case.
A little bit of maybe lost team communication for that. But I think if they destroyed it there, got the Gust off, they could have done a really good reset into fighting them. Especially because Mag's reverse polarity probably was off cooldown at that time.
Lion here, gonna try and throw out a mana drain. A good silence comes out. Tombstone gets dropped. It's actually in a pretty good place. Drow was hitting it, but now she's being initiated on. Can't do anything about it. The Drow is gonna go down after trying to teleport. So is the Skyrat to a good raise here. But oh, that's a fantastic RP. Is he gonna be able to save the Shadow Fiend? No.
Lots of damage has been dealt though.
A lot of damage there, but just not quite being able to kill. Do you think? I don't actually know how many souls were on the thing. It wasn't full souls on the Shadow Fiend, but do you think if there'd been
half of 1836,
you only lose a third, don't you?
You lose half.
Oh, half. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it was. Oh, and they get another pick off as well.
Right on top, per se. It was more. He was a little bit away from them because he was running.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is do you think they would have killed if the Magnus had done a sneaky little skewer right into the Shadow Fiend at that time?
Yes, because at that point you're taking, I think, 1,100 damage or something. Quite a bit.
Yeah, it does add up. And they're gonna go back to this Roshan. They really want this Roshan. They really do. Let's take a look at the sight from both teams here. So Radiant, we don't have a lot of sight. As you can see, they do actually have a ward up on the high ground here. So they can see a little bit, and if we take a look at Dire, with their tier 1s still up, they have a lot more sight. Creeps pushing in at top and bottom as well. And they are going to take out this massive frog of a Roshan. What was this?
Take a look.
Oh, golden EXP. Gold earned, current gold. Oh, that's a cool little graph.
Is that even correct?
Press F4 and take a look at that. It's quite cool. It's quite cool.
Golden EXP graph. Oh, it's golden EXP split. That's cool. I like it.
It's got like team stuff and things as well.
Got the GPM as well too. That's quite cool. So you can see the big GPM swings.
Yeah, I mean if you take a look at
300, 100, 300, and then you get 500, 200, 400, 300, 200. Huge.
If you take a look at the net worth so far on both teams, we've got 10k on the Night Stalker, and the top person on ClickTime is 6.4 on the Drow and Shadow Fiend. And that doesn't include, I mean, you've obviously got the Juggernaut as well, only just now under the Night Stalker, and the Undying, surprisingly enough, up there as well, above everybody on ClickTime. And it looks like they're going to try and breach high ground here with the Aegis up. We see one teleport top to stop the Shadow Fiend. Was he actually trying to cast a teleport, or was he trying to ultimate on top of the teleporting in Lion? And the Lion's going to be in a lot of trouble. He's going to go down. And now Shadowfiend's going to teleport out. It bought them a bit of time, but with the death of the Lion, they're not going to be able to continue this push as Drow just farms up the Ancients here. Got herself a Sange, and it looks like she's going into a Sange and Yasha here, which we saw last time she was picked up.
No, it's been very common. So you see S and Y onto the Drow and S and Y onto Jug usually. In this case, he's gone Manta, like you said. Definitely a good pickup to counter.
Yeah, he absolutely needs that Manta to counter the global silence.
Jeez, so these guys are walking right past each other.
Yeah, they're getting so close to this Drow. I mean, his sight's not great at the moment, but oh, here we go, here we go. He has no stun.
Good, well done. He's like, oh.
Now we have something on this Night Stalker. Aghanim Scepter. Oh, here we go. No hiding from Night Stalker at nighttime now. You gotta love it. He must know the blues here as well.
He can see all the way up.
He's being aggressive. He's got TP support coming in. The Silencer has dropped the silence on him, and we have Ogre coming in as well. Oh, but there's a BKB that we've forgotten about.
This is where you gotta keep running supports.
As
no, don't turn around. Leave. Silencer, no.
Good gust, but just wrong timing. And is he gonna go down to the little... Yeah, he is. As the Magnus comes in with a skewer, and the Silencer actually goes down in the back.
Really careful engaging on him, but they've got the control.
Undying almost going down to the Drow, but without the Frost Arrows being able to hold him in place, he's fine. And a good gust coming out, but it's not going to be enough.
But might get away. There's no slows.
Oh, there is a lot of damage though. Oh, fantastic stun. And this should be bottom lane of Rax if they want to put... Oh, they can't right now. The creeps aren't here. They're going to have to come up towards mid.
No, as long as there's a cleaner creep in there, you can hit it.
Yeah, there's actually a GG call came out without the Rax going down. I gotta be honest, I'm a little surprised at that. I know
it does seem like it was going to end soon.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's 35-9, but during those team fights, I really didn't feel like they were as far behind as the score said.
Though I think even in this type of situation, when you're one set of games you're at least 3 games away from getting into the final upper bracket, I think.
Yeah.
No, not upper bracket final.
Well, no, the grand final.
Final?
Yeah, if you win this, you go into the lower bracket.
Because even if you're losing it, you get to see what they're doing, and you also get to stretch the game in. And during that time, you should be making your next strats, or talking about it with your team.
Yeah, if you truly think it's lost, why not take the time where they're still playing competitively and decide to flush your mind, calm yourselves down, think about the next game, and just play this one out on automatic. And just really take that time as bonus time that the other team won't have.
Yeah, I think that's one thing they should have discussed before calling out the GG, because they had to at least destroy a set of racks and then head in towards taking out your T4s. But I guess maybe that's ClickTime's way of doing it. They want to end it quick, and then they want to
get straight into that next one. Away. Yeah, I mean, you've got the other point of view where if you're getting stomped, you don't want to continue getting stomped because it's not good for your morale. So even if you keep playing on autopilot and you kind of think to yourself, it's not going to matter, whatever, we're already thinking about the next game and not playing seriously, it still kind of bums you out. And Dota really does have quite a large importance on your kind of mental sturdiness throughout matches for how well you do. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the lineups, I would actually say that DBN had a better late game lineup that ClickTime had a better late game lineup than DBN. And so, without even one Rax going down, and I know they're a long way behind, but without the first Rax going down and they're still fighting okay, it probably was over, but there is a chance, and I kind of saw that there was still a chance for them, but, each to their own, and we'll be back in the next game in not too long. I think it's just about 10 minutes from now.
I think the one thing that I'm a little disappointed in with ClickTime on it was because of the fact they had Magnus. Magnus is huge on the high ground.
Yeah, and so is Silence
Ult. And you catch 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, and you got the Silence Ult to follow it up. One mistake, you catch 2 or 3 of them. It's boom. You run into reverse polarity, skewer into the Shadow Fiend, who should be ulting right at that time. And then, as soon as that ends, either hit the silence or start to control up the team fight. Hopefully just cleaning up the rest of them. I really think they could have held on to the high ground a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's tough. And the other thing is that if DBN didn't decide to really push it home and finish it, and it looked like they were really trying to do that, they know that this was their time and they needed to finish it now. But if they'd made one mistake there, then you get something like a refresher up on the Silencer, which he was a hell of a long way from, actually, if we look at it. I mean, what items were they potentially close to? The Drow was going to have Sanjin Yasha and would have got another item in not too long. The
Hmm.
Magnus, I mean, what would he
Magnus
go
was
into
pretty set.
next?
He only really needed the BKB to begin with. One of the things he could possibly get is 4-star, stuff like that. More maneuverability for him.
Yeah.
Um, you could have even seen, I don't know, maybe transition into a bit of damage dealing himself, but not something I would want to see. Just walking into maybe Refresher would be
Hmm.
my guess.
And we weren't all that far away from a BKB on Shadow Fiend, really.
Hmm.
He was actually only 1,300 gold off.
That's why I was thinking a Yule Scepter might be a bit better. Helps for catching people off, increases your movement speed,
You
and
can
gives you the ability to escape Night Stalker quite fast.
you can purge the silence on yourself too in a team fight.
Hmm. But I was wondering why that wasn't picked up a little bit, because I think it would have been quite a good flexible item to have up.
But yeah, I mean, if you do look at the item disparity here, it is huge. There's that Night Stalker was a massive frontliner. That Undying had Crimson Guard and Mech for his team, and the Juggernaut was hitting very hard.
That's one of the fundamentals of Night Stalker, though. Whenever you lane up against a Night Stalker, 100% of the time you make sure wards are up. At least for the first 1 or 2 nights, so you can see what he's up to and not give him that snowball. He
Yeah.
got that snowball very early, and it just kept rolling. And
Yeah.
what happened was, Team ClickTime just got a little bit crushed in that case.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they got the early kill on the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, and then the Night Stalker slightly out-leveled him because of that, even though he wasn't farming quite as well as the Shadow Fiend. And then with the rune control they had, the Night Stalker really got to be able to not only keep his mana and health high enough that he could harass that Shadow Fiend in mid and make his lane hell, but because of the rune control, it wasn't just that they were getting the runes, they actually had no sight on the runes on the side of ClickTime, and it allowed that Night Stalker to just move from the mid lane up to other lanes. So when he went missing from the mid lane to go and grab a rune to regen for the mid lane himself, they didn't know whether he was going to come back to that mid lane with a rune or run up towards the run up towards
top
like
lane?
top or bottom lane because they had no vision of it.
Mm.
And so as soon as he leaves, you end up with the situation where you have to say every time you go back off both other lanes, we don't know what kind of rune he got, or you run the risk of him coming up and ganking and getting a double kill or something like that. And we did see that happening.